Hey, what's up everyone? Gamer Guy 7 Aces here. Alright, now, a year ago, or almost a year ago, I made a video called 5 Things Sonic Mania Must Do in Order to Surpass Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And the thumbnail said Holy Grail on it. You know, it was kind of a spin of the Jay-Z album, Magna Carta Holy Grail. Now, this video, the thumbnail is called Magna Carta. I will explain the meaning of that. Basically, in my first video, when I was talking about which game will compete for the Holy Grail, because I felt that Sonic 3 and Knuckles was the Holy Grail of the Sonic series, as well as a lot of people. A lot of people share that opinion as well. In this video, it's about Magna Carta, because that means, okay, first, the history of Magna Carta was basically a document back in the 13th century, like it was around 1216 AD, that the people, you know, to make it short because it's a long history, that the people made with the king in order to give rights and privileges to the people. So basically it was a document to limit the power of a king, so the king wouldn't have too much absolute power and dictatorship. So the people would have rights. Now, how does this apply to the Sonic series? Well, Sonic Mania is essentially a fan game by Christian Whitehead, made by people with love for Sonic. Takashi Iizuka was the overseer of it, but this game was not made by Sonic Team, was not made by any big company. It was made by Christian Whitehead and his team in Headcanon. So that was the first moment of Magna Carta for the Sonic series, and Sega is definitely reaping the benefits and enjoying from it. Now, a lot of you have asked me, do I think Sonic Mania surpassed Sonic 3 and Knuckles? I never made a follow-up to that video until now, and Sonic Mania, without the plus, just Sonic Mania, the original game, no, it does not surpass Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You know, it barely, it's almost at the same level as Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but there's a lot of issues I had with it that didn't make it better. It was my second favorite Sonic game, you know? But it was the little things like cutscene transitions and just some things that were missing that they patched up or updated. And I know some of you might think that's picky, but hey, when you're competing for the Holy Grail, you gotta bring your A+ game. And I know some people said that Sonic 3 Knuckles is better because it's more original. Let me tell you guys, originality doesn't mean a thing to me. I don't care that a lot of levels from Sonic Mania were taken from the old games. I care if it's done well. That's why I criticized Sonic 4 a lot, and a lot of people did, because the rehashes were soulless. Look at Sonic 4 Episode 1, for example, Splash Hill, Green Hill, Casino Street, Casino Lost Labyrinth. They were just soulless rehashes. Only a few levels were memorable. I don't need to explain more. You guys know exactly what I'm saying. But Christian Whitehead was a fantastic level designer. Some of the levels might as well have been new themed. Sonic Generations is my favorite 3D Sonic game. It's number 3 in my top 5 Sonic games. So obviously originality doesn't matter, because Sonic Generations, every level there is taken from previous games. So that's not an excuse for me to equate the game lower than Sonic 3 Knuckles. Now, I wanted to wait until Sonic Mania Plus came and give it a fair chance, because, you know, that's the same thing we did with Sonic 3. We judged it after it came out with Knuckles, and that's when we realized that, wow, this is close to the perfect Sonic game. So yeah, like I said, originality does not matter, because look at Super Mario World. A lot of people call that the best 2D Mario game, and I agree. But that game takes a lot from the original Mario, from Super Mario Bros. 3. You know, there's not much that Mario World changes from Mario 3, but yet it's a better game. Now, let me pull from the original video I made, because I put 5 key elements, which was level design, story, music, special stages, bonus stages, and different character campaigns and multiplayer. So I said if Mania fulfills all those 5 things and then it will truly surpass 3 and Knuckles. Alright, so let's talk about it now. Let's talk about the level design first. Who wins the level design? Mania or 3 and Knuckles? Honestly, Sonic Mania. Now let me play the original video I made on this first. Level design, or what I like to call the Trinity, which involves platforming, speed, and exploration. Now, even the classic Sonic games never quite balanced all 3 of these things, except Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Sonic 1 emphasized platforming, and because it was the first game in the series, it suffered from a lot of blocky platforming that would just halt your speed and bog things down. Don't even get me started with Labyrinth Zone, easily the worst water stage in a Sonic game.
Now, I know that speed is supposed to be rewarded in these Sonic games, but out of 6 levels, there were only 2 that awarded you with speed, Green Hill and Starlight Zone. At the time though, this was a great game, and it still is, but the sequels were way better in my opinion. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 focused more on speed, and even introduced speed boosters in Chemical Plant, which was the fastest level in a Sonic game yet. It was a very exhilarating and fun Sonic game, except for the fact that you'd easily be running into your enemies and losing rings while going fast in the process, especially as you progressed and the levels got harder. This would become more of a problem like in Metropolis. No one can tell me they haven't run into a slicer or shellcracker at least once. Unfortunately, this made Sonic more vulnerable to the limited visibility. In case you don't know, most platforming games of the time had a panning screen that stuck your player character on the far side of the screen, so you could see what was coming even within a 4:3 aspect ratio. Classic Sonic games, on the other hand, place Sonic's larger sprite in the dead center of the screen, making it much harder to react to things when you're going at high speeds. Of course, all Sonic games were like this, with Sonic in the dead center, but it wasn't until Sonic 2 that it became a real problem. Anyway, you can all go and watch Exo Paradigm Gamer's review on Sonic 2 for a more in-depth explanation on that. After Sonic 2 came Sonic CD, which was a different kind of Sonic game altogether, focusing more on exploration and encouraging it. Levels were so expansive and rich in variety that you could get lost in them, which I enjoyed, but the downside to it was that you couldn't just go fast and blaze like Sonic 2 without running into a lot of dead ends or springs pushing you back to time travel. This game does not encourage speeding to your heart's delight. Speed is more of a tool used to time travel and etc., and I enjoyed that change of pace, but this could easily frustrate a newbie. Now enter Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which perfectly blends all the 3 ingredients into one game. It takes the platforming from Sonic 1, the speed from Sonic 2, and the exploration from CD and blends it into an awesome game with superb level design for platforming, fast blistering speed sections like Hydro City, the best water stage in the Sonic game, and it has tons of different pathways and secret areas for exploring with other characters. This is how I like my Sonic games, and it seems that Sonic Mania might be taking after that. Mania looks to be the most non-linear of Sonic games, even more so than 3 and Knuckles, and I love that. It doesn't hinder your speed though, and there's lots and lots of platforming, so Mania passes the test on that part.
As I said, level design is very important in the Sonic game. It's one of the hardest things to balance. You gotta balance the platforming, the speed, and the exploration. All 3 games, separately emphasized on each one, but only Sonic 3 and Knuckles balance this well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Sonic Mania has finally surpassed Sonic 3 and Knuckles in this category, level design. The level design in Mania is awesome. Now, I will talk about the pros and cons. The pros is the gameplay level design. The level design, honestly, is great. It's like Sonic 3 and Knuckles on steroids. Like, the levels are so big, so expansive. Each level takes at least 4 minutes. 3 minutes if you're speed running. The levels bring shame to the game that came after Sonic Forces. They're just so long. And they're great. They're not long in a bad way. They're just so expansive. And there's multiple pathways. Whether some people want to admit it or not, this game even takes some elements, some level design elements from Sonic CD. Because as we know, Sonic CD was Christian Whitehead's favorite classic Sonic game. And that level design could be very claustrophobic sometimes. And like so many winding pathways to emphasize exploration. Sonic Mania has a lot of that. There's a lot of level design elements that were actually taken from CD more than 3 and Knuckles. But it gives it that 3 and Knuckles polish. And it just makes it better. So that's what I really love. The exploration is high. It's high as hell in Mania. Exploration was in 3 Knuckles too. 3 Knuckles balanced everything. But Mania takes that a step further. And that's what I love. You know, it has a lot of platforming like Sonic 1. I mean, let's take Titanic Monarch, for example. That was a lot of platforming. There's a lot of speed from Sonic 2. Many moments where you're just speeding past the camera. And that was a Sonic 2 quirk. Very Sonic 2 like Sonic 3 it never even did that really. And like I said, it expands on 3 and Knuckles, so definitely a check mark for me. The only cons is that there's not as much Knuckles only sections or even Mighty only sections like 3 and Knuckles. I can only remember the one from Angel Island that was just showing Mighty's, you know, abilities. There's some in the game, I think. Now, I haven't really played Sonic Mania Plus that much from making this video, but the little I've played, I definitely wanted to make this video because I feel like it had to be made. But yeah, 3 Knuckles had more Knuckles only sections, but that's the only con I can think of, the only nitpick. And also, the level design of Mania and Mania Plus can sometimes feel maze-like for newcomers. And let me show this one clip of Dash EXP when he plays Sonic Mania.
I'm gonna end it. I love this game. I don't know if y'all still feeling it. It's kind of confusing at times. You don't know where to go. So maybe I'll bring it back. I don't know how much y'all loving it or not.
Yeah, that part actually made him stop playing the game. It's not that he didn't like it. It's just he felt it was too maze-like for him. Like he didn't have any sense of direction. And Dashie is used to playing linear games or even games like Mario Maker, so it kind of flustered him. Like he wasn't frustrated. It was just that overwhelming. And I can pretty much understand it. It reminds me of when I started college back in Ohio State. I was a freshman. The campus was so huge. Like it might as well have been its own city. So many things to get involved in. I was so overwhelmed. So I just didn't sign up for anything because I was too overwhelmed. So that's how Dashie feels. And also one of my friends, Exo Paradigm Gamer, he just didn't like the level design in Mania. It was kind of a turn off to him because it was too much going on to him. And he likes more linearity. So I understand that. But that's how I like my Sonic games, just like what I said in the previous video. So, alright, let's move on to the next story. Now, Sonic Mania and Mania Plus loses when it comes to the story mark. Sonic 3 Knuckles has the better story. And for a lot of reasons. Let's talk about the reason why. The connection, first the positives of the story in Sonic Mania. The connection to Sonic Forces was very cool at first, and a novel idea too. When we first, I remember it was theory bait for sure. Many people making theories, from Game Explain to everyone. I mean, even people who never made theories before were so excited that it connected to a modern Sonic game. At the time, that's never been done before. So that was cool. But the cons is a lot. The cons were that the plot overall is nonsensical. You know, the Phantom Ruby doesn't really flow right in both games. In Mania, it's more of an illusion thing. In Forces, it's more of a virtual reality, weaponized type of thing. They don't even look the same, to be honest. And the story's just a mess. 3 and Knuckles was much more simple, much more straightforward story. It was the first to introduce Angel Island, build on the lore of the Echidnas, and it actually spawned a lot of stories about Angel Island, Sonic Adventure, and all the other modern games. So Sonic 3 Knuckles is still the GOAT when it comes to the storytelling for the 2D Sonic games. So that's a win for 3 and Knuckles. But like I said before, I don't look for story in Sonic games. Like, a story is not going to be the reason why I, don't like a Sonic game. Now, the next one I want to talk about is the music. Now, Sonic Mania and Plus wins in the music category by far, and I will actually show you this clip where I talk about it. During a live stream, T. Lopez gave a full insight on how he developed the music of Sonic Mania, and gave many more details on how he came up with music for the game, as well as the many inspirations for the various tracks. To even talk about this game's masterful soundtrack, it deserves its own video, but I will try to cover everything here. Act 2 of Green Hill Zone was made with Brazilians in mind, and samba based. Brazilians have been huge Sonic fans, so he decided to dedicate Green Hill Zone Act 2 to them. And who can forget Act 2 of Chemical Plant? The best remix of Chemical Plant I've ever heard, and even rivals the original. Even Jun Senao couldn't top Chemical Plant in his Generations remix. Also, the Metallic Madness remix was awesome, as he provided his own raps for the track. And to the casual gamer, they may sound nonsensical, but if you listen real closely, the lyrics have a meaning to it. Act 1 is Sonic's lyrics, and Act 2 is Dr. Eggman's lyrics. Basically, it's a rap battle between the two. T. Lopez is just a musical genius, and the only sin of Mania was that there wasn't enough original stages for him to compose music for, and I really did not care for the music of Oil Ocean Zone. But believe it or not, his favorite music to compose was Titanic Monarch. Anyway, I'll stop gushing over this game's soundtrack, but the amount of accolades it has received is evident. This game has won the People's Choice category in the IGN Awards for Best Original Music, and was also nominated for Best Score and Soundtrack in the 2017 Game Awards. So a job well done to T. Lopez, and I hope he continues to make music for Sega. He is a huge inspiration for me and all the up and coming artists out there to continue persevering with their music. And maybe one day, you can work with a major company. That was my top 5 Sonic soundtracks. Sonic 3 Knuckles was at the bottom of my top 5 list, but Sonic Mania was number 1 because I loved it. I love it way better. Like, to say 3 and Knuckles had the better music is just nostalgia. Because Mania has better music sounding and more HD, is not on chip tunes or anything on the Genesis. The music is more full realized, like Sonic CD, but even better. Using music from a lot of great musicians like Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson's music, which was inspired in Stardust Speedway Act 1. You got Stevie Wonder influenced music in Press Garden or Blossom Haze, which was Act 2. Just a lot of things, from Brazilian beats to Green Hill Zone. Need I say more? The only con I have, and this is also a nitpick, is that there's no Angel Island Zone Act 2 music at all. And I wish there's an Act 2 in Angel Island. I love the remix for that. And Sega's actually remixed that before, but that's not in Sonic Mania. But that's about it. Now let's move on to the special stages and bonus stages. And again, Sonic Mania and Mania Plus wins in this category. Because the pros are, Mania has the Blue Spheres, and we have never seen Blue Spheres in an official Sonic game since 3 and Knuckles. And it even perfects on the Blue Spheres. It's not as choppy, the frame rate is much more smoother. I was able to complete a lot more of the stages. And it also has an original special stage. You know, and the special stage is easier to collect all emeralds, but it's still challenging. It still has challenging moments, and I've heard that Mania Plus is even more challenging. But I think Mania has the best special stage for collecting the emeralds. I don't like the half pipe. It's frustrating, and Sonic 1 special stage can go to hell. I don't like it. And also the UFO in Sonic CD is just weird. But yeah, but the cons in the whole special stage is there's no Flicky Army of Death on Tails, which is his super form. I was always upset there's no Flicky Army of Death. I would have rather had that, but that's a nitpick. I'm pretty sure that was just removed because it was way too OP for Tails, maybe. Because I feel like that super form is even better and more superior than Sonic's. And also no Hypersonic, but that's also another nitpick. I said I've already accepted the fact that they retcon Hypersonic in the Super Emerald, so I don't care about that. And now, last but not least, the different character campaigns and multiplayer. This is half and half. Sonic Mania loses in this, but Mania Plus wins. And the reason why Mania Plus wins is because of the Encore mode. The Encore mode features a lot of great new content, Mighty and Ray, so that makes it 5 characters in Sonic games, which officially beats the Sonic cycle. You know, when people are always like, Sonic games are bad when you know, there's an increase in friends. Well, this game is the first classic Sonic game with 5 Sonic characters, and it's one of the best, you know? So yeah, and the best part of this, you can switch between any characters in Encore mode, which is something I've always wanted in a Sonic game. I've always wanted Knuckles to be there and Sonic to follow right behind him, or just switch them up. Mighty and Sonic, it felt like, or Mighty, Ray and Tails, it felt like Knuckles Chaotix, but without that horrible ring gimmick. And you know, Mania tried this with the N Knuckles mode and all that, but it was more of an aesthetic than anything. You couldn't switch. That's why I say Mania loses in that category, but Mania Plus wins. And yeah, we just never had any pairing like that since the Sonic Advance games. And the multiplayer is fun and even more versatile because now you can have 4-player screens and everything. There's a time attack, and just like Mania, you can restart it. You don't have to X out the game, start again. There's just more bonus content in this game. There's more bang for your buck. And there's also Puyo Puyo, which is like Tetris. There's just a lot more in this game than Sonic 3 and Knuckles bonus content. The only cons is that there's no online, but that was in neither of the games. Although the remaster or whatever of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the PSN, PlayStation Networks or PlayStation 3 had online. I remember because I used to play online with Husky Zeel on Sonic 2, but that wasn't in the original. But I still wish they could have put online in Sonic Mania Plus. Let me know if there's online, but I doubt there is except leaderboards. But that's a nitpick. I don't really care about that, but I wish we had that. That's why I said it's more of a 50-50. That's about it, and I've already explained Knuckles had more of a different campaign than 3 Knuckles. So overall, you know, it pleases me to say that Sonic Mania Plus finally surpasses Sonic 3 and Knuckles as the best Sonic game. It replaces Sonic 3 and Knuckles in the Holy Grail. So if I were to be honest, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is now number 2. I still have to wait and let this marinate a bit to be sure if Sonic Mania Plus is my favorite Sonic game. I don't want to rush, but I mean, looking at this list, Sonic Mania Plus meets all the expectations, all the requirements that I made last year. And if I should be consistent, if I were still consistent and stuff, Sonic Mania Plus fills all the requirements with the exception of story, which who cares? So yeah, what do you guys think about this? Let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, so that's my review of Sonic Mania Plus. It's even better than Sonic 3 Knuckles. I still love Sonic 3 Knuckles very much. It will always have a special place in my heart. But Sonic Mania Plus is awesome, and I hope Christian Whitehead comes back to make more, because this is promising of the future of Sonic. And with that, I leave it to you guys to decide what is your pick for the Holy Grail. Right, guys, I hope you're all enjoying Sonic Mania. Stay tuned for when I do a Sonic Theory. That will be on Mighty and Ray. You don't want to miss that. Alright, guys, remember to hit that bell button, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, swag out.